don't. No, that's not how you get bloopers. That's not how you get bloopers.
Well, that's the blooper right there.
Oh no. Oh no.
Okay, so
Okay.
welcome to Margin of Error.
That's good.
This is a first episode, and we always want to get our margins of error slightly lower.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, we're going to agree
Try
with
to
that.
learn something every day.
Learn something
Get
every day.
better. Yeah.
So we are talking about capitalism today, and
Let's introduce ourselves first.
yes, let's do that. You know, it's a first podcast. It's a first episode, so you can expect the bloopers. Right. So, first things first, I want to introduce the guy who wanted to put all this together. The guy who is very passionate about his topics. He can call you like in the middle of the night to discuss about capitalism.
I'm still learning about boundaries. My name is Ugochukwu, so yeah. Yeah, I'm here. What's your middle name? My name is Ugochukwu, and yeah, I'm glad to be here, and I'm also glad to come because I'm Tosin for even showing up. But yeah,
What do you do?
I currently work in an accounting firm,
As
an accountant. But I also have different interests. I studied engineering. I read a lot of philosophy, psychology. So I would say I'm a student of human nature, and I'm always interested in a good idea or a good question, and learning and being a little less wrong every day, and reducing my margin of error.
margin
So,
of error.
yeah, that's
that
why.
in there.
And my
Nice.
middle name is Favor. At this point, we need a margin of error counter.
Like how many times do you say margin of error
I
you
hope
get
we
when?
stop after today. But yeah.
All right, what about you, Tosin?
Yeah, my name is Tosin. What else is there really to know? You know, my name is Tosin. I work in asset management.
Asset management.
Yeah, it doesn't sound, it isn't as cool as it sounds, but like, you know, the money's okay.
Nice.
Money's okay. And I'm a big fan of capitalism. Just remember
You gotta
that
put
as you're
that
listening.
in. Tosin is a capitalist guy. He's in favor. He supports, and if he had the money
My
in the world,
God,
he
we need to at
probably.
least relax. Listen.
Do you know what else is in favor?
What?
Who goes middle name?
Oh, word.
I've already said that. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
I've already said that's my middle name. Yeah, I'm proud of it.
Yeah,
And,
I like it too.
All right. Yeah. And lastly, my name is Campsy. I am a user. I'm a product designer. So
Cool.
I have been in engineering all my life, so I'm a designing engineer. But I want to start a business, so I'm trying to go into the capitalist world. So everything they say here is something that would really help me, as much as it would help probably you too. I'm interested in politics, economics, business, history, anthropology, and slightly philosophy. But Ugo is like really forcing philosophy in my
Yeah.
head right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Fair enough.
Man, everybody needs a little bit of philosophy.
A little bit, just a little bit,
Question what you've been born into.
so you can have a lower.
Margin of error.
There you go.
You are like 10, and it's been like, what, 2 minutes?
God, I'm very.
Nice. Okay. Let's start off with a little story. Stop me if you've heard this before. There's a guy who sells bread on the street. His name is Chidi. I'll go with Chidi. That's Chidi's cool name. Yeah. So Chidi sells bread. He goes every morning. He wakes up, very, very attentive to detail about his bread. He has workers who work for him. He does everything to get bread in your hands. But the question is, does Chidi actually love you that much to, do all this, suffer all this for you? And I think you would agree with me. No, Chidi doesn't really care that much about you. He cares about the money that you can give him. So you can say Chidi is capitalist in that regard. Chidi owns the factory of making bread. He has people to make bread for him. And really what he wants, his motivation is your money. He wants to make money to pay his rent, to buy his car. And we can see capitalism, according to the dictionary, is where the private class has or controls the means of making production or producing things, and doing so, as Adam Smith would say, is the invisible hand. The motive of making or controlling this form of production is to turn a profit. So I'd open it to the floor. What is your view? What do you guys view capitalism as? What have you seen it? You guys are finance guys, right? So you work in the money market, you work in the money business. What have you seen or considered capitalism to be?
I think like just taking off from the definition, the example you gave, yeah, capitalism, just like you said from the dictionary definition, is where private individuals can just own the means of production. So, for example, Chidi owns the factory, right? The bread factory, and he sells bread and makes a profit. From what I've seen, that's just how it is, and it just scales up, right? Whether it's like, for example, a downfall driver, like to you, to him, you are just a seat.
Walking
You're just,
walking wallet.
you're literally just a seat. And yeah, there's even a little bit of history. Funny enough, I was talking with a friend. He comes from a different viewpoint, a communistic viewpoint. And he asked me a question one day that I was like, "Oh, when did capitalism start? Do you know when it started?" And I was like, "Capitalism started? Well, I even knew Christianity, Jesus came and then he died. There was a beginning and end to his earthly life here. He went to heaven and, but I never thought capitalism started. And it was really interesting. Then we did a couple of Google searches, and basically, there are a couple of theories on how capitalism started, but the most common one is the merchant class. So basically, back in the medieval period, right, in Western Europe, before there were entrepreneurs, there were kings and landowners. Those guys were the main people that owned the means of production because back then, all you could do really was to farm. And then if kings and the landowners were the ones that owned the lands, and they will have like a servant class to work on those lands, and they offer them protection in return for, yeah, they offer them protection in return for the service that they provide, which is growing the food, right? But then exploration happened where ships were going to other countries and they were now getting other resources like spice. Spice was a big thing back then. Another thing. So when they brought it into the lands, they started to sell and make money. So back then, even the prevailing philosophy around holding money, the rich people back then just used to flex, just like men when they go to the club nowadays, they just spend their money, which to me is anyway. But there was not a saving mentality. But amongst the merchant class, it was good. They added interest. They expected returns on your money. It was a new concept, right? So what happened was over time, the merchants started having more money, and the kings needed money to fund the wars. So they started to rely more and more onto the merchant class to help them provide. So they started to get more power, which led to a conflict between the merchant class and the landlords because now there were people that had were acquiring resources and there was that whole competition. But according to a particular theory on how capitalism started, it started in Western Europe, and this is like the prototypical being of like, okay, it's not just value creation now, it's that capital is looking for more capital. And then that's it. That's it.
So to you agree 100% with the definition, owning private property for profit. Like you don't see capitalism as some other mystical thing that came, we're innately capitalist. Like it just is in our blood. Was it created? Like
No, no, I do not see that as
okay.
in AIDS. So there's a difference between I feel there's a difference between creation, which we've always done, value creation, and making profit on that, right?
Yeah.
So to me, capitalism is like the engine. It ideally should be the engine of taking, because if you're in the bank, Tosin, you know this, if you're in the banking system, when you enter, they'll teach you that, look, what's banking about? Taking money from people who have it and give it to people that are most productive in the society to unlock
Yeah.
value. And to me, I like that narrative, and I think that's the way ideally capitalism works. But the nuances are way
All
different to
right.
reality. But
And
yeah.
speaking finances, Tosin is our asset manager on premise. So
Our residence capital,
resident capitalist.
if you would.
Nice.
Yes, if I was to talk about capitalism, I'll just say one word: exploitation.
Exploitation, guys.
How many syllables is that?
Exploitation. 4 syllables.
4 syllables. So what I say is exploitation. At the grassroots, you may look at it like capitalism is for the rich. I don't think it's for the rich. And
That's a hot take.
yeah, I
I
don't
like
think it's
Hey,
for the rich. I
we
don't
need,
think
we
it's
need
for
a we
every.
need a button or sound effect for every hot take.
Yeah, so I don't think capitalism is for the rich. And I mean, even with Ugo's point of saying, you just said something right now that I'm trying to.
In it, capitalism.
Yes, I do think it's innate
Mm.
in us as human beings, because as human beings we are competitive, and capitalism and exploitation comes from a place of competition.
Mm.
You're looking at your neighbor and saying, oh, they are productive, they're making, well, productive is the word, they're making money,
There you go.
they're making money.
I got
How
it.
can I make more
Yeah.
than them? How can I flex on them? You know, capitalism is the same way they say money is not a respecter of anybody. Like, as long as you've shown capacity to hold that money, the money can flow to you. Right. And I think that's the whole aim of capitalism. Capitalism is basically the engine to the sport of making money.
Efficiency, introducing efficiency.
Exactly. Because if there's no capitalism, if there's no exploitation, if there's no competitiveness, then we're looking at a society whereby there are no billionaires. And yes, I said this, I don't think there's anything like someone having too much money.
God damn.
I do not think there's anything like someone having too much money.
Ooh.
They've worked for it. I don't think it's in our place to come from a moral standing of saying, oh,
Oh, come on. You're saying that? Okay, well,
don't see how much
fair enough.
let's even leave Nigeria. Elon Musk has what he's floating on 800
freaking billion now.
dollars. And yes, that's fine. But
He's creating value for the
Yeah.
economy.
exactly, the American government isn't what it is without Elon Musk, without SpaceX, without Tesla, without Twitter.
So the real question, right, what I would ask is, wouldn't innovation happen without billionaires? It would. Before there were billionaires,
be a
there
lot
were
slower.
millionaires.
Yeah,
And they were
I
trillionaires.
guess there's something
It'll be
there.
a-
So it
What was the
depends.
pace of innovation
Exactly.
Let's take
when
Nigeria
money
as a
was
case study.
dispersed?
Let's take Nigeria as a case
Okay.
study,
Okay.
right? We have people that have tons of money. What's the pace of innovation here? It's not that much.
It is.
What?
Right now.
It is in the fintech
will-
market, in the tech market,
I'll
in
talk
the
after, yeah.
contracts. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
no, continue. Okay, so I hate to be the economist, but our GDP, our gross domestic product, which is basically like the key economic indicator for making sure that an economy is productive and is growing, is reaching levels that we've not seen in the past like 10, 15 years, right? And all of this is all on the back of Baba Dangote.
You know,
I guess you
I
can.
like Dangote.
I think
Dangote.
I think
I'm not
Ugo's
gonna-
your example of Nigeria may not be the best because the
Mhm.
acquisition of the wealth is not necessarily the most legal way, and so
Exactly.
But
so it's not going to be spent in the most productive way because
For real.
then the cause for which they're getting
It's kind of mute.
but
yeah.
we agree that capitalism is agnostic to whether it's well,
Yeah,
it's
it doesn't care.
agnostic to
Fairs,
morality.
Of course, yes.
Okay.
fairs.
So that's a particular con to the system, right? That's why I said ideally this is how it should work. And people like Dangote, I like him. We need more people.
Yeah.
We
Basically,
need,
we're seeing his workings.
yeah, like we need
I
more
heard he
people.
wants to open a port in Ogun State.
Also,
We need more.
seaport.
He's like a Rockefeller, really.
Yes.
He's the only one that's pushing industrial growth. People like Otedola should. Oh, I can't speak before Otedola sees me. I need.
We
but we need
speak
more
what we
interested.
see. Yeah,
we need,
what we're seeing
we
right
need
now.
more industrialists, and not just because if for a society to grow, right, you first need to solve is your power. If you don't have power to power your industries, you can't produce. And if you
Fair.
can't produce, you can't compete in the global market. Just that simple 1, 2, 3, ABC, right? So Dangote, his refinery is one of the best things that has happened to the country.
Sure.
If he decided to enter power, although the margins on that are not really good, it has to be subsidized by the government. We need more industrialists. Then we can now accelerate even the AI age within us. But yeah,
so you saying we need more industrialists, doesn't that mean you're advocating for capitalism? Because that is competitiveness. We're looking at Boa Foods that is looking
Boa
to buy
Cement as
Boa
well.
Cement that is
so
looking to buy his
I
own
never said I'm
factory.
against capitalism.
Ah.
I never said I'm against capitalism. I'm just saying this is the game you're playing, right? This is
Yeah.
the game we're playing. So that's the aim, to just highlight it. Some might be communist, and there are pros and cons to every system, right?
Definitely.
There are pros and cons to every system because, like, for example, like we just mentioned now, these are good people that are pushing the system in that direction, right? But like that's why, but if you don't regulate it, if you don't have a directing force, right? Because I think there's an economist, was it Milton Friedman, someone that was saying that the free hand of the market shouldn't just be super, like there has to be a guiding force. The
Regulations.
government has to regulate it in
Yes.
some form. Was it Milton Friedman?
I don't know who said that, but I'm of
Which was-
the opinion that we need regulations in the capitalist market. Um, let's look at the opposite of capitalism. Just a brief touch on it. I'll go guess that up. So communism is purported to be the opposite of capitalism, where the state or a governing body owns the means of production and can disperse the profits or the revenue in in the way it deems fit. So you could talk of Russia, the old Soviet Union, and the CCP, the Communist Party of China, CPP, CCP. Well, yeah, well, that. So
Chassis and peas.
C's and P's, and they control the means of production, and they shuffle people around at their will depending on what they want to focus on that in that time.
Hmm.
And there's so many examples of abject running down of industries. For example, Russia, the Soviet Union, created a nuclear infested desert in Kazakhstan because they tried to change the geography of agriculture. And so they moved money in that place to try to change how the stream and the water flows to different places. And they created this massive desert that is almost radioactive in
Wow.
Kazakhstan area. So we see that in just that is far. Bringing it home to Nigeria. Nigeria is it touts to be a capitalist economy, but we can see a lot of government well,
Inputs. Yeah.
impute, but also a lot of government what's the word? Stifling. So
Regulation.
regulation. The regulation is much steeper and it doesn't allow just anybody. It's more, I would say corrupt. Let's just use the word. I try to be more diplomatic, but it's very corrupt in the sense that it stifles your ability to own the land, the means of production. Lagos and land, they're
Hmm.
like, oh my God,
Oh my lord.
you don't even want to
It's
go
better
into
to
that.
rent.
Right. So Nigeria, I mean, we've seen the government try to, own the means of producing fuel.
How did that
They had 4 refineries, and where are the 4 refineries in Nigeria anymore? So when the state owns the means of production, what is that in your view?
Me?
Is it in your view, is it better? You're not really the full capitalist here.
But before I even answer that question, right?
Yes.
The economist that talked about government intervention and regulation was John Maynard
John Mayer Keynes.
Keynes. So Keynesian economics.
Okay.
And that's why stuff like that
Mhm.
exists for the capitalistic market, because if you just let human competition and greed take over, there's a tendency for you to externalize the cost, right? Which is why the industries like the oil and gas, for example, when they drill, there's this thing called decommission and restoration, where wherever you drill, you have to make sure that when you leave, you bring it back to the way it was.
Yes.
When you're in drilling, you have to pay the communities because they could have been using that to fish or stuff like
Yeah.
that. So that is a form of regulation that helps
Yes,
it
very important.
exists to protect the consumers, and it's important to have that in the system. Speaking of communism, though,
That is
I
an
need to.
introduction. Right? So you just said it's a regulation is like an aspect of communism, but then
Is
raw
that an aspect of communism?
raw communism would be total control. But now
I
what
don't.
we are is like a partial control where we're just regulating, but in communism it's complete ownership. You can regulate, but you also own as the state.
So what it is, right?
Yeah.
At least from Google, right, is that it's an economic ideology, political and economic ideology that advocates for a classless
Mm-hmm.
and stateless
Mm-hmm.
society. So it's not the state that owns it; it's the community that owns it. Now,
Through representatives, I guess, which then you could
I
call
have
the
no
state. But
idea
it's
because I have not
yeah.
looked into. Because to me, again, I see that there are issues with capitalism, and I think there's a better way. But I don't know what communism is. Like it does this because, for example, there's this thing about it's not economics, but there's this thing consumerism, right? Where if you don't put a brand to something, it's not going to the quality can vary in far in few in between.
Yeah.
Like when Apple puts a logo on their devices,
it's Apple.
you know it's Apple. You expect a quality of standard, and if you don't get that, it damages the brand, which is why it's important to have that kind of identification, right? But it's like it's like a sliding scale. It can get too much. Like take the music industry now, for example, the copyright claims. There are only 12 notes in a scale. there are only so many combinations of notes that you can arrange a song in that will give you a pleasant effect. So what you now see are like power laws. So what I mean by power laws is winner takes all. So very few people gain a lot of money by doing the thing because they were the first to do it, right? But like, come on, it's like saying you own air, right? There are just some things that you can't own. The idea of private ownership doesn't scale because if it does, if you extend your argument to that level, right, you have tyranny, right? So I understand both angles, but it's like a middle ground. You can't just have fully one thing. There's at different scales, it's really important. Like, I don't think you should run a communistic government. It doesn't, I don't know how it makes sense, man, because there needs to be decisions that need to be made, and you can't make everybody happy. But maybe on a slower scale, communism works. So at each, there's this will I say philosopher or trader, Nassim Taleb, his idea is of scalability. So at each level, different philosophies will work and support the structure at each level. So he says he's communistic with his family, capitalistic in his business, and something else politically, or is it? I can't remember. I don't want to misquote him. But basically, it's not one size fits all. That's what I'm saying. There needs to be nuance in the description of what we're doing, right? Because yeah, capitalism, I'm not gonna sit down here and say like, capitalism is all bad. It's helped. I used to be the kind of person that would be like, you know what, I'm not going to work in an oil company because it's affecting the environment.
Okay.
I was young and foolish, man.
Okay.
If
Okay.
I
I'm not
I'm
clumsy today, you are.
I'm going to go to that oil company. I will go there unashamedly, and I'll join their renewable energy division, maybe.
Maybe.
But
That's
yeah,
a good.
but yeah, no. So what I'm saying is that there needs to be nuance, right? There needs to be nuance. If not, um, the system will get bad because now even speaking about pros and cons, right? Um, there was a philosopher or economist, what would they call him? Karl Marx, right?
Yeah.
Great Karl
he wrote
Marx.
he wrote a book called Das Kapital. He's a German philosopher, right? On capitalism, right? And just basically, what he was talking about was analyzing capitalism during the time. And as my friend Tosin rightfully said it, he noticed that it was just exploitation. So back then, it was not like IT, this world that we live in, right? It's just factory workers. So he was saying that, look, these rich industrialists, they're exploiting the work of the masses. And for you to make a profit, right? Inherently, it's exploitative because the value that someone is helping you create is not the value you're getting. You're taking the excess on top of it. And it was just like, the problem is, once you start doing that and you start having capital accumulation, the power gap grows more and more and more and more, right? So what it now said was like, okay, there's going to be a revolution of the working class. And it did happen with the creation of labor unions that like, look, we want more rights. Because another thing in the capitalistic system is that when you're looking at just production, there's a tendency to just measure people by the metrics of how much you're able to produce. And there's a subtle dehumanization because like, okay, instead of everybody being generalists at one task, it's more efficient that one person is really good at this task, this other person is really good at this task, and you synthesize. But sometimes when you're on the lower levels, you can't even see the bigger impact that's happening in the economy. And like, again, that tendency to dehumanize, you measure the time, you measure it against what you've produced. If you didn't produce, get out. It's called human resources, not human beings. So these are some of
I'll actually agree with you.
yeah. It's just what it is, and it's like, oh, now obviously there are good parts because, like, again, there's some a friend of mine, Tosin, not the one that we're talking with right now. He was talking about like he knows. So in the music industry, right, the way it works is like venture capital. So there are artists that are really talented and not just talented, they work really hard and they go for events and they build a crowd with them and they'll make you a lot of money. If you put in $100,000, you earn like 3 million on them. Then there's some artists that they give money and all they'll do is just smoke. And they'll be like, yeah, I'm being creative. Don't worry. Like, yeah, it's you.
Well, that sounds
Some crazy
personal.
stories.
That sounds personal.
But the point, the story I had, I was annoyed. I was just like, how do you come late for your own damn recording session after you drop anyway? Anyway, no. But the point is, industries like that, there needs to be some level of measurement and accountability, because if not, you just be faffing around, right? But back to Karl Marx and the point is that there are some inherent trade-offs in the system. And like the alienation, he calls it alienation, or the tendency for capitalistic systems to dehumanize and just push towards production would lead, in his argument or my argument or whatever, would lead to its eventual collapse, right? So that's another thing that we need to be aware of in our discussion on capitalism, right? It's not that it doesn't have its pros or cons, but these are some things that it can affect, right? Like even like our relations, right? Men are often measured by how much money they can make, right? It's not always the case. Some people can love you for who you are. Anyway,
No, yeah,
some people can love you for who you are, but like the ability to create and
Yeah.
like provide is a big thing. But
Mhm.
the point is, these are some things that the capitalistic system doesn't tell you, or you inherent. Some people inherently feel it, and yeah, it's not always rosy in capitalism. That's all I'm just trying to say. That there are pros and cons, and that's it. So communism, back to that, communism, it sounds like it sounds like heaven, but like they've tried it, and it's been
It's
hell.
not, because you still
So
need.
I
I
don't
guess
know.
the core problem with capitalism is, I mean, with communism, is you need someone to own the
Yeah.
means of production.
Do you do you need, so another question I wanted to ask is so do you guys believe that human beings are inherently lazy and selfish, or that if given the chance they would want to create and do good things?
I think we're capable of everything you just said, given circumstance.
Yeah.
Giving at least that's what I believe. What do you believe, Tom?
Yeah, I believe that. Lazy and selfish. But selfish
Sure.
as human beings. I mean, some people can be lazy, but it's all based off like the motivation for what you're doing. You know, for example, let's say Usain Bolt, for example, you tend to read for GMAT, he probably couldn't care less.
Not game out this guy.
You know, I want to do my MBA, GMAT's kicking my ass. But yeah, you tell him to read for GMAT, nothing. But if you tell him run, there's motivation, you know. I
yeah,
mean,
that's very.
yes, I mean, I think it's all based off like the motivation behind why somebody's doing things. And I mean, money could be a motivation. I do think it's a motivation for some people, not for industrialists. Like, I don't think money is the motivation for Dangote, because if it was, he would have been
Way
relaxing.
too much already.
He would have been
Right,
relaxing.
exactly.
If money was the motivation, he'd have been relaxing. I think he's just an industrialist. I think in his head, there's a better Nigeria.
Yeah.
And
really
he's just trying
fighting
to do
for
his
it.
own part of the better
Contributions
Nigeria.
in there,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we see capitalism in so many forms, but people have tried to adapt their economies to capitalism. So we have something like socialism. So what is socialism? How is it how is it compressed the benefits of capitalism and some of the communal benefits of communism? What exactly is socialism?
I don't think there are any benefits to communism.
Damn. It's a hardcore capitalist here, resident capitalist here, guys.
I mean, what's the benefit? I mean, you tell me, what are the benefits of communism?
What do you think communism? Oh, I'm not a communist, by the way, but what do you think?
No, you tell me, you give me the benefits, and I'll disclaim all of them.
How would I know? I
Okay,
have
so
no
I
idea.
can take you up on that.
Okay.
So people can argue that socialism is like communism, but in this time it's collective ownership, but capital going to based on what people contribute. So it's based on how much you contribute, then you get the money. Yeah, so that's socialism. But it's
Yeah,
like they try to
just what
imbibe some
worse
aspects
is,
of capitalism.
Yeah.
Communism is where the state and its representatives,
there's no states in communism.
like not but the people.
The people, the
The
community.
But then the community cannot own it collectively. There has to be a representative of the people.
You're thinking through a capitalistic
1
mindset.
billion people cannot own a
So that,
refinery.
so
Dude, how can you make
I'm not
decisions?
arguing. I'm not arguing against that.
So there has to be
I'm not arguing
representative,
against that.
and the representatives are the state, the
The
government.
state appointed like the
Exactly.
director general
So-
of so.
Okay, so
Yeah, 2 billion people in
so
China
so
cannot
where?
own one refinery. It just doesn't make
Okay,
sense.
so no, so I'm not. So what I'm going to say is what communists, from what I've seen, right?
Mhm.
I'm for pragmatism, right? Look, we live in a capitalistic,
I think capitalism pragmatic though.
that's why I said we live
Okay,
in a
yeah,
there you
capitalistic world.
Okay.
So this is how you win. That's the aim of this podcast, right? To talk about how you win in the world and
Mm.
understand it. But if we're going to talk
we'll
about
get there.
communism,
Mhm.
right? The idea is that's why I said it sounds like heaven, because what the guy said was basically, or the argument, I can't quote him directly because I'm still reading his work
Okay,
on whatever,
guys.
but like, look, his argument was like, okay, look, the worker class will be tired that they will be exploited, and they will want to be the class that rules it in a particular way, and they want to increase the means of production for themselves. That's why you'd want the CEO gap to drop. Right now, it's average American CEO earns 930, about 900 times more than the lowest or the average worker in their company. Nigerian CEOs, like the best thing in your career is to become a CEO. Even if you get kicked out, you're going to get a nice severance package. You're never going to be poor. So that's why the corporate ladder has a lot of competition. But that's another conversation for another day. But his point was that, like, look, okay, so the communistic class would get to like state representatives or whatever, and they'll start producing and whatever. And eventually that transition phase will collapse. And what happened will be that, like, oh, to each there's a saying, to each their own or something. Do
Yeah.
you know that saying?
To each their own.
Yeah.
No. There's a way Karl Marx said it.
I don't know about that one.
To each according to their ends or something.
Oh, so there's some element of capitalism in there?
No, but
Okay.
in value creation, right? From each according to his ability to each according to his needs. Basically, which is where like each person will be able to produce what they'll need. Like, how do I put this? So you wouldn't, so right now, the system we live in now, if you don't work, you're going to die
Sure.
because you'll be poor.
As you should.
As you
Eh-heh.
should.
Well, that's it, as you should.
Yeah. Because even the people that are begging on the streets, they're working. So I don't think they should die. But like, if you,
That
life
is a-
just isn't fair. You
That
know?
is a useless use of human capital.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
like
it
they
is.
shouldn't be begging.
It
There
is.
should be at least
There are more
working. Like,
ways that
yeah,
could
there are better
channel.
ways to.
But that's
channel
up to the
human capital.
capitalists to come up
Yeah.
with those ways to make
Exactly.
money
It's
as
not the
this.
government.
Wait. There need to be social. We are privileged, right? We went to good schools. We went to university. Speak for yourself. Okay, sure. You drove in a, and you drove in a. Okay, fair enough, right? But the point is, we have some benefits that look. Our parents grew up in this capitalistic stuff. They've been accumulating wealth to help us set us up, and we are going to do the same for our kids, right? But the point is, there's some people that really started from zero, and like there's some people that, if you give them a chance, that's why charitable and those socialist policies are needed.
Okay, fair.
You need to give them a
I can
chance
see your argument there.
to
Okay.
enter the system and compete, right? And be better. So those are socialist policies.
So like equal opportunity to contribute or compete.
Yes, because it's not fair to compare someone that has gone to Harvard with someone that has gone to.
Don't name a school in Nigeria.
Okay.
Before they come
A
up.
polytechnic.
Yeah, just
Okay.
say polytechnic, like
There you go.
period.
But basically,
Yeah.
the level of education, the access to the teachers and the research, right? Which is why back then,
Yeah.
even when China was trying to grow, what they did is they sent their students to America.
Yeah.
Even now, when Trump went back there, and they were talking with Xi Jinping, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
In the agreement, Trump was like, "Yes, we'll accept your students," because they still want them, because America is a powerhouse in research and innovation and all
Yeah.
of that. So, but the point is, for everybody, that's why some socialist policies, you need the socialist policies, because again, it's all about, for me, it's all about human development and increasing value. But back to the communism that Karl Marx was describing, was like, okay, we'll be able to produce so much, and like wouldn't be exploited, that people wouldn't feel the need to work out of fear of starvation, but they will just work because they enjoy the work, and from each according to his ability to each his need.
Mhm.
Which to me sounds very
That's very
idealistic.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
because personally, I don't know about anybody, like I'm just like, yeah,
Nigeria people.
Yeah. I guess now you know kind of where we are.
Yeah.
they just brought like,
Thank
We
God.
are-
Thank God.
We thank
Yeah.
God.
well,
Capitalism.
yeah. So that's basically so.
That ties into what Tosin was saying about the innate nature to be like it's like everything just stacks against the communist nature.
I even have something to say. So I don't know if it was communism or socialism you were speaking on, that this talked about the community, and then they elect like some people
Yeah,
or
represent.
representatives, and then those ones kind of like champion the interests of the other people. But doesn't that still lead back to capitalism? Because of or what's the one that by the few, by the
Oh,
government by the few, autocracy? No, it's not. I think it starts with F. It's not feudalism. It's can't remember what it's called.
aristocracy, oligarchy,
Oligarchy, exactly. Don't that still lead back to oligarchy? And if there's an oligarchy, there's
government by the
capitalism,
few. Yeah.
and the few are always
So
probably
that's why I
rich.
said, like, for me, again, I feel like we should take good parts of each system and help bootstrap something that helps
Do
it.
you know you're yet to give me a bad part of capitalism?
Oh, I'm giving
Okay, I think let's save that. Let's save that because
multiple.
this is the section of the podcast. Now we're talking about the adverse effects of capitalism or the impact in
I'm giving the
general
bad parts. Okay.
over the years.
Okay.
Okay, let's just ground it in the story. Just stop me again if you've heard this one. So there's a driver or a taxi driver. I don't know how many people have still used taxis in 2026 in Lagos.
How many can afford taxis?
I mean, just taxis, like
Okay, so taxi.
normal taxi
Yeah.
guys who back then I remember 2015 or 2016 or
Huh.
2009, I
Exchange rate was
used a
lower.
yellow cab taxi in Lagos. That was the
Where were you
last
going?
time I was going from school in Chrisland to my house around.
Fair.
And we used a yellow cab taxi. I tell you, 2009 was the last time I ever used a taxi in Nigeria. Why is that? Have you heard of Bolt, Uber? A couple of guys in their dorm room had access to technology, access to capital, venture funding, and they created this tool called Uber.
Yeah.
And now they have put thousands, I mean, thousands of taxi drivers out of the market. And this is the impact. What's his name? Adam Smith, or I'm not sure his name, but it's called creative destruction. And that has been one of the most dangerous, or not dangerous, but one of the most adverse effects of capitalism. Meaning you can be okay today, but your business can be wiped out because of the competitive edge of capitalism and the desire to want to make profit. We'll talk about this, but this drive to make profit, one could argue that was the very humble crucible of AI. Now, that's a hot topic. We'll get into it. But the desire to be as competitive and efficient as possible, one could say, was the grinding, humble beginnings of AI. The need to make more money, drive off reduce the human expenditure, the human aspect of production to make it a lot more efficient and cheaper. But I mean, we'll talk about that. So this creative destruction has been the adverse effect of capitalism.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that's bad?
No,
Is that bad?
He thinks it's not bad.
I think it's great.
Tosin says it's great. Hugo is on the fence. Are you on the fence or are you off the fence?
No, I think like so that's when funny enough, right? Again, I'm not for against
or
capitalism
rather,
system.
what
What
impact of
my
capitalism has you think is good or bad or whatever?
what I think is that, like, look, creative destruction is just a feature of life. It will
Real.
happen.
Real.
From the typewriter to the laptop, it happens. As long as the
Library
human
and search
beings,
engines.
exactly. As long as human beings exist, there was the drive to innovate, to change, to make.
What drives that to you?
It's just innate curiosity, and like human beings don't want to like
Okay.
we're literally biologically programmed to go from avoid pain and go towards pleasure.
Yeah.
But like again, there's some other philosophies you can trick yourself to now enjoy doing the hard things. But there's also an innate drive for people to be powerful, to exert more control over the environment that you are in. Which is why we harness fire, make a laptop, make a car.
Okay.
That's an innate drive. So creative destruction will happen, regardless.
With or without capitalism,
But
it will
I think it
how
would.
much of a driver of this level of disruption we've seen has capitalism been?
I think capitalism speeds it up, but regardless, it would always happen.
Hmm.
Like, no matter how far the destination is, you will get there as long as you continue the trip, you know? Capitalism definitely speeds it up because if there's no competitiveness, if there's no exploitation, then where is the rate of growth? What is pushing the growth? If you get what I'm saying.
You know,
I think something
I
I can
agree
add
with
to
it.
that, and it's very interesting fact. So when was the period of the most, what period in our history has had the most innovation in terms of the most drastic innovation?
I
I
think
think
like
it's
past
right
like
now.
five. The what?
I think it's right now.
Yeah, like past 5 years, like since COVID, I think it's been
COVID.
crazy. Like since COVID, I wouldn't say
Oh,
like a specific year, I'll just say like this time.
that's a way we ask me question, right? Because we've
In the
the
night,
innovation is it's moving from physical realm to software realm, and
yeah.
maybe it will now have effects back on the physical realm. Because what
Mm.
I'm saying is like rapid change happened during the industrial revolution, the
Industrial
creation of
Revolution
the
was kind
steam
of where I was
engine.
going to, because what was the driver for innovation in the period when it got started? Did you know that most of the inventors really only made like $2 their patents?
Because they were not capitalists.
They were not capitalists.
Like
So,
what?
but my argument is
Tesla died
and to
poor,
Ugo's
and he
point,
created
and
the
I guess
AC
this is where it goes to Ugo's point. There was
innovator,
massive innovation in a period where people just aimed $2
which
on
is
their
a
patents.
crime. Jesus Christ.
It's in this time and age. Oh my God, they need to be billionaires like Elon
Mhm,
Musk. They
mhm.
need to be.
Elon Musk is a capitalist.
He's a
But he's also an
capitalist.
innovator. But
But
yes,
yeah, so what is so now we have I guess on Tosin's side, Elon is Tosin's mascot. It's like this is the holy grail of capitalism, right? And I guess on your part,
there's no
Tesla.
no, no, no,
It's Karl Marx.
no,
You
no,
know,
no, no,
it's
no, no.
Tesla, and then the $2 guy. He died broke,
Mm,
but he changed the
Yeah,
world.
change the game.
Right. So like,
Hold on.
what do you think about
I'm
that?
not on anybody's side. I'm for the side of peace,
World
human
peace.
flourishing. So
Okay,
we
fair.
need to understand
Okay,
what the systems are and how to leverage against them, right?
fair.
But to your point, that is why innovators tend to die. No, used to tend to die without making a lot of money because they didn't understand the game and the systems that they were. And there's this effect, right? I was reading something. So I'm going to bring a bit of corporate politics and power, right? There's this effect of once you start to accumulate resources and power, it's hard to be the one that innovates. That's why you see big companies, when they get to a certain size, they no longer can move as fast as they could. There's a lot of bureaucracy. There's a lot of there is
There's a
taking
lot of
it.
bottlenecks. There's a lot of
Exactly.
approvals.
Regulatory
Exactly.
regulations.
So that's why small companies come and then, I don't know when Microsoft or Apple might die. I don't know if they will eventually die, but if there's a new thing, a new change or a new paradigm shift, like for example, we went from the steam engine to the information age. If we go to something else,
I
maybe the
guess that's
quantum age.
to Tosin's point. Capitalists would always survive because they have the money and then
The capitalists will change.
yeah.
So for
That
example, if
definition of a capitalist will always change with whatever, like,
no, I'm saying the set of people will change. Like for example, Rockefeller, they had the steam engine and stuff like that.
Sure.
The family is
Rockefeller
pretty
was the
wealthy.
real, the
Real.
oil.
Yeah.
Oil, okay.
Yeah.
His family is still wealthy, but they're not the kingpins now because we're in the information age. If something else comes, I don't know, quantum age or star age or whatever, the people who are the first that can capitalize on that will
Yes.
become the new ruling class, right?
Fair.
Yeah.
But my point is that, like, yeah, you just need to know the game because I don't think everybody wants to be a capitalist and like be the king of everything. Because my point was when power increases, when you get to that level, you're no longer able to innovate as much, which is why like Elon Musk is basically he knows his mission plan, he knows where he wants, and he's pushing towards that. He's not going to be the one that will make a scientific discovery. It needs to be those innovators
Yeah.
or rich people that have time
Yeah.
and have the ability to just sit about and wonder. That's inherent trade-off between power and actual innovation, which is why, like again, capitalism can accelerate innovation, but it's not the cause of it, right? And so, because again, we're 8 billion people, right? About one thing I'll say, you say communism. So communism, there's an inherent drive for each of us to connect, right? There's an inherent drive for each of us to connect. Communism accepts that fact, but there's also an inherent drive for us to want to differentiate ourselves and to show that we were special, right? And that's what capitalism leverages on. So the point is, if you're the richest man and everybody's poor around you, best believe actually nothing's going to happen to you. To be
Yeah,
honest,
nothing, absolutely
nothing is going to happen to you. But it's
Okay,
going to
no, no,
excite
things
you.
happen. That's how the French
The
Revolution
revolution.
happened.
No,
Yeah.
so the French Revolution happened because like the rich people. So again, there are different classes of people.
Yeah.
So Napoleon was just pissing off the rich people that could afford to take him down. So the rich people now started
No,
revolting.
that was before Napoleon. Napoleon
Oh,
wasn't.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Was
Napoleon.
after.
No,
No,
the French Revolution
was
was the
before.
one with the Queen,
yeah,
the Queen of France,
yeah,
and
Antoinette.
yes, Queen Antoinette,
Yeah.
and Mary, Mary
I'm
Antoinette.
not
I don't
sure.
know.
Yeah.
So
So
let's
the-
speak like we know Mary, as you would. I think if I remember correctly, it was just revolve around like the people of the lower class
Yeah.
revolting because I think the price of
This was
bread.
after the war with
I feel like
Britain.
again,
Yeah.
it's like
And it was
it's like when
crazy,
this guy Jonathan tried to increase fuel price and Tinubu called anyway his people to come and like that's how it works. Stop, don't worry about it. But let's just
But I think
let it go.
you brought up a point, which is our actually our next segment is, how can we play the game of capitalism to survive? Now, it's not only just like it's not only to thrive or to make money. This is survival now. We're in a game where people are out to get you indirectly, not a hitman anything. They're out to get your way of living, right? So we're in a world where um workers are the asset, or we're the asset, because now AI is kind of like the asset right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's sad. So we're in a world where these like it's literally coming for your job. Capitalism in the form
Won't
of
say it's,
AI
I wouldn't
is
say it's
coming for your job.
out to get you, but it's not definitely not your friend.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
So
Wow. So this is the age of Ultron, you know.
yeah, it is. It is. And when you put it like that, it's more scarier than it should.
Yeah.
It's as scary as it should be.
Yeah, please do not put AI inside robots, please.
Oh, it's already
Unfortunately,
happened.
it's already happening.
Jesus.
We're screwed. Yeah, yeah.
What? So see, I
At
read
least
this.
our livelihood.
So it's funny
may be
how
screwed.
like now, right? It's weird because we live in a society where we are on the cusp of creating devices that can do everything we want for us. It could maybe end world hunger. I'm
Maybe.
being idealistic.
Maybe.
But
Yeah.
people are scared that will take their jobs. What kind of society is that, man? Like what? But anyway,
But it is. It has taken jobs.
no, it has and it will
So
continue.
how can we play the game? How can we survive and thrive
in the game as it
in
is?
the game of capitalism?
So basically, I'm going to speak as if basically there are three levers you can use, right? You can lower your costs, which is how much money you spend,
Expensive.
increase your revenue, gaining new skills, and providing value.
Assets.
Yeah, not just assets, your ability to create. So farm, market, build something, innovate, discover a cure for cancer. Doesn't have to be that crazy, but
The plane will crash immediately after you discover the cure for cancer. Like, imagine finding someone that, oh, I made a car that runs on water. It's done for. Yeah, it's done for. NPC will get in.
true.
Oh damn.
I'm not,
That's
no,
that's
I'm not,
bleak.
I'm not, I'm not for
That
the
is quite bleak.
conspiracies. I'm not for the
But I
conspiracies.
mean, fair. I can see there's again that is the innate competition, the capitalism right there. You make a solution, and they don't want you to make a solution because they don't want to be
Oh,
rich.
come on, I don't believe it.
No,
So
no,
I
let
think
me even speak on that. So let's take the FX. I mean, we've
Foreign
all
exchange?
got, yeah, foreign exchange.
Yes.
Remember when it wasn't regulated like this?
Yes.
There was a disparity of maybe like 800, 500 naira between
Float.
the
The market and
between the market and the regulated one. Now the government has now said, okay, let us regulate it.
Mhm.
And in the course of this, I don't even know if it's better or worse. I don't know what the manipulation is. The government is disbursing maybe like what $1 million every week to BDCs to share whatever. I don't even see
to drop the price.
to drop the price to basically control
Yeah.
the FX rate.
Mhm.
But people always forget leading up to elections, things get crazy. Number one, this whole Strait of Hormuz thing
Yeah.
that has led everything is going to increase inflation, which we saw with the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And once inflation
prices, yeah.
rises, that's going to directly impact the FX rate. And once the FX rate rises, you know, politicians can sell their dollars, get more money, enjoy their electoral campaigns a lot easier.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's too much manipulation. Even the government
Mhm.
is playing capitalism.
Mhm.
Yeah,
know,
because they're protecting
they're
their
protecting their own
means of
interests.
I
production.
agree.
Yeah, so it's kind of like how do you fight the machine kind of thing.
So how do
So
you play that game
So for me, I think it's to increase your power, and for me,
Increase
um,
power. What's
in with by power I mean your ability to achieve your ends,
Mm.
and I think there's an ethical way to do it, meaning that it should be towards human flourishing, right? And to do that, each person needs to be aware. It's like financial health is as important as your physical health. Please take care of your physical health and your social health. Where financial health is important because again, when you're born, nobody. I mean, unless you are in a family or you have people that are financially savvy, a lot of people don't tell you like the moment you're born, bro, they're
That-
selling you something.
That's also
Everybody is selling you something. And like whether it's baby diapers or
I
baby
think Craig
food.
Craig McKeown in his book Essentialism,
Mm-hmm.
it says that there are a whole lot of there are more useless things in the world than they
I
are.
mean, people are selling
benefits.
dating courses anyway, but anyway,
That's an interesting book, Essentialism, guys. You should check it out by Greg McKeown.
plugging.
It's not an
this is
ad
not
or
an
anything,
ad.
but it's a book that's life changing. Just go check it out. Okay, yeah, I'll go with that.
But yeah, so you need to increase your power and be aware. So it has a lot of values work and self-awareness. But just a general viewpoint of okay, I want to take care of myself and I want to take care of my finances as if it's my child, right? So you need to be able to first, there are three levels you need to be able to engage to increase your capital because the game of capitalism is capital accumulation as the game
Control the means.
is currently, right? So you can be a great capitalist and have a great quality of life
Okay.
without owning the means of production. But if you want to make a lot of capital, you therefore eventually would have to become an owner.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fast,
But you
fast.
don't need to be an owner to have a good quality of life, right? So there are three levels are lowering your costs,
Mm-hmm.
increasing your revenue,
Okay.
and then making your capital work for you, right? And these are what all or majority of I'll say all the or majority of the business and personal finance books talk about. They just don't bring in the larger framework of the societal trends and everything that's happened before, right? But yeah, so on the first one, lowering your costs. I mean, everyone has heard this before, creating a budget, right? And making sure you live below your means or whatever. But like, it's not that easy because again, there are a couple of things. You first need to be aware of what your spending pattern is. I need to be aware of the societal factors around you. There's this thing in business called a burn rate, how much money the business spends on a day-to-day to do its operations. You need to be aware of what your burn rate is, how much you're spending every day. So it doesn't mean you need to track it every day, but for example, at the end of the month, you can actually, because if you have a banking app, or you can go to your bank to ask them to print your statement. You ask or you download the statement for the month and just
Right.
like look at all the money you spent. It's not a fun exercise. It might be very painful. But also, that's why self-awareness and self-compassion is like you're learning, it's cool.
Right.
Just do it. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. So first, be aware of what your burn rate is by looking at what you spend generally. Just maybe do it for like a month or two, right? And then, okay, what are the things that I don't need? Or what are the things that might not be aligning with where I want to be? This is a lot of psychological and soul work because you need to have a vision of where you actually want to be at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And they have the processes that will help you.
So you have to have
reach
a
there.
vision, guys.
Yes, you have to have a vision. And it's not just, I want to be, that's not a great vision. That's not a good vision.
Yeah.
But it's
You
like,
don't do
okay,
that.
I want to start a business that helps people, I don't know, kids learn how to speak English better. Or I want to be able to afford a trip with my financial skills or my accounting skills. So what do I need to do? Or stuff like that. So it needs to be a vision that is concrete and actionable, and then you can build steps towards it. But just generally increasing your capital, right? So you need to have a vision of where you want to be and how you want to do it.
Okay.
Then you take an account, right? You know what your burn rate is at least every month. Download the statements and see the individual parts and how much and what you're spending. Categorize it into buckets. Okay, this is food, really. This is me going out. This is whatever, right? And then I'll start looking like, okay, what necessarily do I need and what don't I need? And there's this social comparison that we have, keeping up with the Joneses and the competitiveness my friend Tosin talked about.
Mhm.
Don't look at Davido when you're
Don't
looking at your
ever
own
look at the
burn
video.
rate, don't look at whiskey,
Back
don't
when
look
I was
at
broke,
Totally.
you. I heard that in his lyrics. I'm like, dude, were you ever broke? I'm sorry.
Oh man, he was probably broke for his standards. He couldn't
Oh
afford to go
no.
out to the IP. But no shade to you, David.
Yeah,
As
we
if I
love you.
know
We
him,
love you.
as if I know
You're a
him.
cool guy.
But the point is, you need to know what your burn rate, and the truth is, some people have more leeway than others. So that's where the next step comes in, increasing your revenue, which is gaining more relevant skills in this world. And like, yeah, going to school is one of the best returns on your investment that you can make
Is it
right now, and
really?
excel
Right.
and
Is it
excelling.
I
really?
don't agree at all.
Is it really?
Okay, that's an
Is it
interesting.
really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Okay.
I'll love. Let me just finish this framework, and we'll get into that.
Sure.
By increasing revenue, learning marketing skills, learning finance skills, if you, or just learning, in my opinion, skills that can add value, like becoming a doctor or something like that, like going to career paths that one that are not going to be easily replaced by AI, and then skills that can help you do things in the world, and that might be do things in the world. Scalability is an additional factor. Scalability is an additional factor, but it doesn't necessarily need to scale. And the third thing is making your capital work for you. That's investments, right? Which I'll hand off to my friend as the asset manager. But basically, putting your money in places that will make returns for you. So it doesn't have to be the stock market,
First.
because stock markets is just the gambling house for the rich. So you don't need to do that.
Don't accuse me, my man.
Oh, so you're in the stock markets. You're rich now. I love it. I love it. I love it.
You
But,
don't have to be rich, but it's fine.
but
But I
fair
get you.
enough.
So
But
so we have savings. Just
lowering your
itemize it
costs.
for the audience. So lowering your cost, you want to spend less, and then you have a little more to do what? To
Okay, yes. So once you have a little more, right, the next step is to build your foundation, which is the savings, right? Books would say, depends on what your goals are, but having a foundation, just a foundation of money, you can set a target of 500K, 1 million, whatever it is. Have a foundation so that if anything happens, this money that is there, I could do something with it.
emergency funds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There are apps that can help you with that, like Piggyvest. That's the one I use.
My financial advisor says I should have 3 months worth of rent in my
Yeah.
emergency funds.
Yeah.
Like if I like my emergency funds should at least be able to sustain me for 3 months worth of
okay.
living on my own.
In Nigeria, in Canada, maybe.
Maybe not in this region of Lagos. It might be in other places, but wherever you find yourself, you should be able to at least afford 3 months of survival in your emergency funds. Then you can use whatever you have to flex and enjoy and whatever, but just knowing you have 3 months of survival.
Also, I'll say the people you surround yourself with is really important in this your financial journey, because you need
course.
like-minded individuals. Because if you're with guys that just flex all the time, you best believe somehow you're going to be broke and be like, how come, right? You need people that will keep you accountable, and it's not like a thing that like there's pressure, but just like, okay, but building towards the okay,
Yes,
how much are
like-minded
you there? Yeah.
individuals.
So having that your team around you and people
Okay,
around
so
you that are going in the same
saving
direction,
for the rainy day.
building that fund, and then after you've reached that, built your fund foundation, depending on your goals, right, you can have like 15%, right? So if before you were earning 100,000 and you were saving about 30, and you build it up to,
So that's a 30% savings.
yes, so and you build it up to your emergency fund or your foundation, I'm calling it foundation, to a level like, okay, you've built it up to 5 months, that's 150K now. Now, when you want to save, you can reduce the amount you put the foundation, and then now put 10% in investments. I'm a long-term kind of trader or investor, and I just put it in and forget it. But it has to be money that you're not afraid to lose.
Yeah.
People say, don't be greedy. It is in the game of
I think investment, Tosin can talk to it, but correct me. You never put money that you need tomorrow in
No,
the stock
definitely.
market.
Never. Never. You will in fact lose that money.
Very, very assuredly.
Surely, verily, verily.
I say that to you. Okay, sorry, go on. I just
no,
wanted to
but
throw that in,
yeah,
guys.
that's
Stock
good.
market is dangerous. Don't put
Gambling
money
house
that
for the
you
rich.
need tomorrow.
Yes. And then once you do that, you just be building your capital little by little. Look for good instruments that will give you good returns. You need to be aware of like the you need to be aware of the systems around you. I'll let my friend Tosin talk about that.
So
But like, yeah, so
uh,
that's it. That's
investment.
those.
So savings,
Mhm.
investments. How else can you play the game according to you? That's just it.
Those are the main levers. Yeah, and then you can. Those are the main levers. Now, value creation is
Oh
the
yeah,
main
Mm.
unlocker, which is
of
where
massive capital. Oh,
because that's how you're the startup founder, so you can tell us about this your journey because I'm interested. Because what happens is when you create something of value, you think you have something of value, you need to get investors, people that have excess capital to invest in you so that you can unlock and scale that value.
mhm.
So that's a major um driver too. But yeah, that's a major driver too, and it's something that anyone can do. And yeah, it's
Okay.
anything anyone can do. But the reason why I didn't emphasize is because it's not as controllable, right? A lot of people have
There are a
business.
lot of
Sounds-
factors that need to work in
You
your
need you
favor.
need to have something that you control, at least have a stable job and save and build from that,
Oh, yeah.
or have a job that can eventually increase your power, which is
Okay.
scalability and like become maybe go on a career path that eventually you can become the MD of something, or you can learn the skills to manage. It's really important, but focus on what you can control
Mhm.
because there are so many people that sell clothes. It's
And wig.
and yeah.
I said it. I'm sorry, guys.
There are so many people that sell, so it's hard. It's
But I
hard.
think you landed somewhere which I would like to direct to Tosin, and it's a very interesting one. It is the 9 to 5 versus the people who own the means of production, the capitalists, the investors. You are in asset management, right? You've seen crazy things.
The
I'm
devil's
very sure.
workshop.
According to him,
Yeah.
Google says it's where crazy things are done. And what is your view on 9 to 5 and investing? So just giving this example, so we have Tunde is like he's a brilliant guy. He's smart, good developer, good
Why is his name
designer. Well, his name is Tunde because I say his name is Tunde.
Well,
Why
It's
did you
my
choose?
story, Ugo.
Why did you choose? I'm just curious. Like,
First
Okay,
person's
okay,
name was
fine. His
Chidi,
name
yeah.
is Ugo.
okay, fair enough.
His
Okay,
name is
fair enough.
Ugo.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
No.
Representation. I hope there's an also name coming next.
The second story didn't have a name.
Why didn't you put an also? Okay, I'm just joking.
Okay, you know
Every-
what?
his
His
name is
name
Musa.
is Tunde Musa.
Yes. So
Right.
he's a Muslim.
His
Yeah, Yoruba Muslim.
no, his name is
Okay.
Tunde Musa Ibenidion.
Okay.
Well,
All the
okay.
names
every-
since we're
everything.
representing
Okay.
256
Okay.
tribes.
Cool.
But
That's something.
he is a 9 to 5er and he's a very brilliant guy.
Mhm.
Great salary, life is good. He spends his money on the latest iPhones, nice clothes, and all of that.
Mhm.
But the moment Tunde stops working, I mean, we all know what happens. He probably doesn't have enough money to finance himself, and with
His 3
time,
children.
he could go broke.
Yeah.
And there's a lady. Her name is whatever Ugo wants her name to be.
Yeah.
Well, no, Victoria.
Victoria. So Victoria plays a different game. She lives below her means, like everything Ugo has said, and saves up and invests, buys few luxury items, but then buys assets, invests in a lot of assets, where she can gain some kind of return on that investment, right? So 10 years later, Tunde is still working just as hard because he gotta work 9 to 5 every single time. Meanwhile, Fumi's land has quadrupled. She bought an asset, a land,
Wow.
and it has quadrupled in value. And now she can even buy more means of production, right? In your view, how have you seen people transition from 9 to 5? Have you seen what is the rate of transitioning from 9 to 5ers into investors in Nigeria? What is the rate of investors of being created in Nigeria? Do you see people in Nigeria investing a lot in asset management? Like you're in asset management, do you hold a lot of people's funds, or is it just a few people in government? What is the rate of adoption of Google strategies in our country right now?
So firstly, I think in the
That's a
nine,
really good question.
yeah, real. I think the first thing I would say is the 9 to 5 was.
Yeah, what do you think about it? And
I think. Well, I know there are a lot of 9 to 5ers that are investing.
thank you, Nigeria.
Thank you, up Nepa.
Fuck Nepa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are a lot of 9 to 5ers investing. I work in an asset management firm that has a sister company of an investment bank. That is a sister company of a merchant bank.
Okay.
They have a pension fund.
The whole shebang.
So every time someone gets paid bonus, suddenly the mutual funds in asset management are booming. Suddenly the stock market is where everybody's money is at, you know. So I've seen all those things. I would say the movement from 9 to 5 was to like being an investor is probably most of the time I've seen it be because of your surroundings, which is why I really agree with what Ugo said earlier, speaking about like who you're talking to, who are you speaking to, who are you surrounding yourself with. Because I mean, I hate to say it, you know, we've heard it a million times, but if you look around and there are 9 fools, you're the 10th one.
Damn.
You're the 10th one like mad.
Damn.
Like in fact, you're the most foolish.
Which none of you guys are
I
listening.
mean, none of you are.
Yeah, of course, our audience. We
Yeah.
can be
You guys are
foolish.
pretty smart.
Very pretty
Yeah.
smart. You're listening to this already. You're in
Yeah.
good company.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I'll say is a lot of the people I know, I mean, there are a lot of people I know in like even in investment bank in my office that will be like, oh, so we need to start an insurance firm, you know, they have so much liquidity. And I'm like, insurance business is not sexy. It's so boring. Like it's so boring because, you know, the way insurance works is, you know, everybody contributes money and then you have a claim and then they pay. Whereas
So
there's no claim, they
99%,
get to keep the cash for
So
the.
yeah, the percentage of claims should be much lower
It is a
than
lot. Yeah.
the premiums coming in. So
Yeah,
therefore,
because
the money
everybody
is
can't get into like a car
Yeah.
crash at the
Yeah.
same time, unless there's an earthquake, which is
Yeah.
sad. But
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's so boring, but I mean, it makes a lot of money,
Uh-huh.
you know. So back to the original question of transitioning from 9 to 5 to investors. I mean, there's an adage in Yoruba. I'm not going to say it in Yoruba, but it is basically saying it is he who has eaten that can think.
Hmm.
That's
Ah,
deep. That is
am I now an unk?
That is
Am I
deep.
now an
Dude, that was deep. That was deep.
Oh my lord,
That was
bro. Am I
deep.
an unk?
Oh,
Because so he said,
No, he entered like it
What?
diluted.
I mean, I wish I could give you guys the Yoruba version, but I can't deliver it the way it needs to be, but it's
Fairs.
fine. And you know, that thinking of that is how life is. It the food, like saying he who has not eaten is not necessarily talking about food. It could also be who is not settled at home
Oh.
cannot perform. It is who is struggling to get to work that also cannot perform. Like it's every single facet of life. So I wouldn't come to someone that will say that has like 200,000 salary and say, oh, you must invest. I would say save first because I mean
Build the foundation.
build a foundation. I don't save. My money goes straight from salary to investments.
Straight
I
up.
don't
I'm
Well,
with
you
you.
have the
I'm with you
foundation.
on
yeah,
that.
yeah, I do have a foundation. I mean, you even know my business.
I know, don't worry.
On the side. But I wouldn't say someone that is earning 200,000, 50,000 save. I would say, please try and eat so you can think later. Eating could even be paying yourself first. When you get your salary, that 5,000 per month, I mean, it could go a long way. I mean, it's 60,000 a year,
Yeah.
but in 10 years, I mean,
I really like
I
that.
think
Just a
it's
train
just
of
a
thought.
habit.
It is
Just
the
build
habit.
the
Yeah.
habits.
It
Just
is the
build the habit
habit.
because it will compound because how you treat 5 naira is how you treat 5 billion. Like
exactly.
Dangote would have been Dangote regardless. Like look at this, just the way he behaves. Even though he's not make, he will be you would see him somewhere.
And I'll even raise you this. I think from him having as much money as he has, it is now he now understands the value of money. Because there was an interview he was speaking on and he said that, oh, with all the business I do, I still need visas to go to these different countries. And he says $600 is a lot of money. So if he is conscious of the fact that $600 is a million naira, how many people are earning 1 million a month? How many people can even save 1 million in 3 months and go and it's visa that's the first thing they're thinking of? Some people are going to think about rent. Some people think about black tax. You get what I'm saying? So if Dangote is like of that understanding that, yo, this thing is not as it seems. So $600 is a lot of money. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Don't let everybody tell you that, oh, it's from $1 million is plenty. Even $100 is plenty. I mean, when we think about it, this is a very clean recession indicator. When we're growing up, if you see an unk, doesn't he give you 5,000 naira? Go
Straight
and
up.
buy drink.
Something
I've
like
not received money in the past 10 years.
Because you're drunk now.
unfortunately. Like, this is a recession because everybody is feeling it.
Yeah,
So
everybody, honestly.
I wouldn't even tell anybody that is not investing, like, oh, I don't think you should feel bad. Just, just try and grow that base, little by little. I mean, it goes a long way. Now, to the people that are investing proper, I mean, there's so many people that are managing money for the asset management industry in Nigeria is for the public,
Mhm.
it's about 9 trillion naira, which is a lot of money and even pensions is, I think,
What's like the
28
dollar
trillion.
equivalent of that?
That's, I mean, well, if you think about it,
Nine,
Just divided by 1,000.
yeah,
That's
just
just 9 billion.
yeah, like 9 billion. I mean, that's a lot for how many people, considering how many people are earning even more than 50K, how many
Sorry.
people are unemployed?
Oh, but employee, yeah,
Exactly. How many people even have, like, there are some people that their expenses are so out of their control, they cannot even save 1,000.
Got it.
Which is why we eventually will talk about the socialist, and no, not today, but
Yeah.
it will come. And anyway, but there needs to be both
Yeah,
angles,
it's
right?
about a very balance. There needs to be something. Go on. Okay.
So, what was I speaking on?
So like the not the amount 9 billion, 9
Yeah.
trillion naira invested.
Yeah, so the asset management industry is about 9 trillion to the general public.
Yes.
I mean, me personally, just to give you guys like some understanding. So there are different kinds of funds, but the 9 trillion are the funds that the general public, everybody knows about. So inside every asset management company, about half or even like 2 or 3 quarters of the money that I'm managing isn't known by the public. So for example, in my office, to the general public, we're managing 700 billion. To me, I know it's 2.5 trillion.
Okay.
So, and that's just for one company.
Yeah.
And it's not even 20,000 people's money. It could be 100K. And I mean, 100K isn't a large number, but when you think about the amount of people that have left the country, when you think about the amount of people that are
About
unemployed,
90 or 70 million, 70. I'll have to check that number. But go on.
yeah, like when you think about the amount of people that have left the country, the amount of people that don't have any savings, and you just remove all those people and just focus on the people that actually have cash that is generating something, that is great. But what I will say on the opposite end is that I feel like the pension industry is so little, because I think I saw it somewhere that the number of active pensions accounts in 2025 was 12 million. And I was like, 12 million, population of 200, 12 million. The pension reform, the pension act
200 million people.
12 million out of 200 million. It's not even 10%.
Yes.
It's 12%. Is that well? No. Is it not?
Actually, no, it's less.
It's less, yeah.
10%.
Yeah, it's like 8 or 7%.
Yeah.
So it's crazy because 29 trillion, think about it. Pensions have been around for what, maybe 30 years, and just 29 trillion, meaning 1 trillion a year, with the amount of money that is being made in Nigeria. I think, yeah, we definitely have a lot of work to do in that regard. But I think the asset management industry is really thriving right now.
So like you're saying, like, no, your concern is, just to articulate it for the audience, is there are not much people invested, right? Just a handful of people control the vast wealth of this investment in at least your agency or your investment firm.
That's a symptom of capitalism, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, well, what can you do?
It is what it is, but
They can't dash out money to everybody.
So that means there's room.
Yeah, there's definitely room. Like, I'll even say this, and I think I've even told Ugo this. When people were like, oh, about to be controversial, but when people were like, oh, some are like poor people, they'll be like, oh, this, that, and the third. I said, I personally know someone that her father was a gate man. His father was a gate man. And this person right now, like the person's father, like my friend's father, is an ED in Standard Chartered. But he was a gate man.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, my dad was a bricklayer, so
Your dad was a bricklayer.
that's one point.
You see, like, I think it's a mix of different. Obviously, not everybody is going to be not everybody is going to make it out of the hood. Let me not even say rich. Not everybody will make it out of the hood. But it takes God's grace. It takes hard work. It takes you being wise. you're somebody's driver, that is not the avenue to steal from them.
Excellent.
That is not the avenue to steal from them.
You-
Talk to them, let them impart knowledge. Like,
because it's
like
once you
the
know the
access
game,
that is
you,
so
the
important.
access is so
They
key.
you have access. You are okay. You're someone's menial labor person.
Mhm.
You are doing a menial job, but the very fact that someone is able to pay you means they have some knowledge
Mhm.
that you can learn from and up your game,
yeah.
right? And I think that is something a lot of people don't understand in Nigeria.
So
The access they have.
I'm going
Go
to
on.
be able to so I think I agree with you guys, and I think like there's a certain quality of like if you want to make it, bro. Like I don't know whether it's the grace of God or there'll be people that like once someone comes to you and tells you this is possible, your mind starts to act in that kind of way. Self-help books help my dad and like it helps me.
Especially people that you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, well, but there's some people that will go the other way and the self-destructive way and they'll try. But anyway, but let's not talk about those kind of people. Now, but there has to be a combination of two things. That person needs to want to go and
Yeah.
get there. And the second thing is that our environment has to be able to
Nurture that person.
exactly. So it's going to always be exploitative, right?
Mhm.
But like, look, if I have a houseboy or whatever, I'll take them.
I would want exactly. They need to go to school. They need to be able to read and write.
So it's like, fine. It's you're helping me, I'm helping you. Yeah. So it's not that I'm just going to use you and
Yeah,
but
like
there has
you
to
have
be
a
a
greater purpose than being somebody's houseboy.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. But like, yeah,
Mhm.
you need like the average configuration of the Nigerian isn't possibility mindset.
Yeah.
They're not seeing it. So that's why I think education is important and like stuff like this. It's possible. There are so many other systems you
Mhm.
can talk about. And that's why I also think
Yeah.
therapy and psychology is important. But just so it's possible, the church, people that just be around people that believe you can do it and
Yeah.
are doing stuff. It actually just changes because like, oh, you see your guys earning this month. Oh, whoa, I can't do. Whoa, I listen, we went here. I know this person.
Thank
We
you.
went here.
Keep it PG.
And I can do. Okay, all I need to do is be audacious. Oh, yeah, no problem. So once you see that, there's something about like seeing your guy
Seeing
doing,
your guy,
Yeah.
or
especially
someone
the
around you.
closeness of so the great the closer the greatness of like the closer the person that is doing the greatness is, the more inclined you're able to think about it.
If you want to do it,
So
because
I
some
think
people can sabotage themselves.
that's where I think so. We've heard so many views about like capitalism right now. I think fundamentally that one change, I don't believe fully that capitalism, I don't believe in it fully. I feel there's just one slight change that we need to be made for me to fully adopt capitalism. It is striking out for the purpose of making profit.
Mm.
I believe that has been the bane of the bad aspect of what we've seen in capitalism, at least in Nigeria.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the purpose of making money, people go through many lengths, sometimes and many times illegal, stupid, just plain evil to make the money. But I think you can strike it out and put a more something that suits you. So for me, I personally, I'm an engineer. I went through the engineering route and I also as a designer. So I really want to change the way systems are organized. I'm an enhancer of systems, just the way I think. I just love to enhance things, but also I like to enhance behaviors as well. I want our behaviors um, to be able to sustain the system that we create to ensure our behaviors are able to sustain the system that we
Mm.
create. So it's a loop. That is what I love doing. Now, if I'm going to make a business, if I'm going to make anything, I'm looking at, and as a designer, we're trained to see things, the desirability of a thing. How desirable is it for the public? How feasible to create? Can I create it? How viable it is? So the viability, the profit making side, the sustainability of the thing comes as a part, not as the sole aim of capitalism. So in my view, if we added other aspects, so for the sake of making profit to better the society, to improve it, then I can really accept capitalism, right? For at least for me. I feel like we need to state it that if you're only chasing money, like if you're only your point of owning a means of production is to earn money, unfortunately, I feel you will either run into a roadmap. I mean, there's a roadblock, sorry. There's a passage or a parable that Jesus told about um the guy who had money He had a barn, like he had a very good harvest, and he, instead of investing or doing something with the money, he said, you know what, I'll break down my barn and create a bigger barn so I can have
I
more.
think the God answered this.
Yeah, so it's like, okay,
God.
you're a fool, bro. Your soul is required of you. And then Jesus said a very profound thing. What shall it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?
That's such a deep Bible verse, bro.
Like that is
That's such a deep
literally a
Bible verse.
truncation of that slash the for profit of capitalism. Like in the Bible, you see that God gave the Israelites, he gave families, like you could own land, they could own land, they could own cattle. The king did not. In fact, God's God's design was no kings. We're reading First Samuel in my church.
So sorry,
Right,
so
so-
all the listeners, Kamsi is like I think you can tell his voice.
Yeah,
Spiritual background.
I believe that not even just spiritual, the philosophy of the things in the Bible really tell into how we should live society. I mean, live in society. God, I mean, in the Hebrew Bible, attempted to draft, according to the Hebrew Bible, what they believe is God attempted to draft this model that how we should live in society. And in one of it, he gave the means of production to the people. But he said, during the harvest, you're not meant to harvest everything. You're meant to leave you're meant to leave a certain amount of your harvest for people who are poor, who are broke, who are not able to feed themselves, so they can eat out of the harvest. So he ordained some form of socialism in their capitalist system. Because he also said whoever will not work will not eat. Like, so you gotta work. So
Which is
it's kind of like a balance. His goal was you should not, and then Jesus kind of solidified it because Jesus apparently in the Bible he's the express image of what God
Jesus
intended.
was cool.
He
Jesus
was a
is
cool guy. He's a cool guy. And he says, what shall it profit a man to gain the whole world? Literally debunking the last aspect of capitalism, which is the making for profit.
Yeah.
So satisfaction is very important, but we know as humans, true satisfaction comes by impacting life. I don't know how to define it. I don't know the research. Probably would, talk about it another time. But something about impacting humans just has a way of satisfying us, of driving us to do better, of driving us to be better, right? So if you can incorporate that in your definition of capitalism, in your pursuit of money, right? I want to make an impact, but I know that, of course, I'm not altruistic. Money, you need money, you got to sustain it. Like you also have to make that kind of people money too. But I know that that's just one fraction of why I do things. I know that I want to impact lives. I want to change things in society. So what is that thing you can find that irks you, that you feel that you can dedicate yourself to and also make money from, of course. but what else aside from profit can you ascribe to the reason you want to make money? I think that would get you, like Google said, have a vision, right? That could tie into your vision. You don't like your society, you don't like where your people are.
money is a means, it's not the goal.
It should not be the
It's a
goal. If it
means,
is the
it's not a
goal,
goal.
you would not be satisfied. Many people have killed themselves, musicians, very successful people. They just didn't see meaning. Like, and yeah, it's not a worthwhile existence. I know we're in a country or we're in a place where we place so much value on people who have money. And I don't think that is healthy. I think that is toxic. We'll
Yeah.
get into that later, but I mean, we can already tell our society is not necessarily the most empathetic or empathic society. The chase and the pursuit of money has kind of dulled our natural senses, our consciences to how other people may feel about things, or we perceive them like, like we said earlier, as money bags. A conductor or a bus driver sees you as a walking wallet. Like you are not a person. Why should I make my bus conducive for you?
If he could, he would make 3 people sit on each other.
Do you understand?
If he
Right.
could.
So that lack of
God.
empathy has
Oh boy.
stemmed from a desire, an inordinate desire for just making profit. So if we can reduce that desire and try to replace it with other aspects of human living and society, I think we'd have a more fulfilled. Like Tosin said, not everybody will not be Dangote. Not everybody will have the
Neither
money.
do I think everybody should.
Should.
Yeah, no,
Because there are
definitely.
hidden costs should be
The
The
like
inflation
sacrifices he
would
had
choke.
to God, I beg.
Inflation would choke if everybody had like a
Mhm.
good amount of money.
and aside from that, I don't want to say because it's hard to have empathy for rich people, but there are things that they go through. Like when you're so again, I'm not glorifying poverty, no.
Sure.
No. But when you're relatively well off, like let's say middle class, and nobody knows you, you're free. You can literally go out, nobody is swarming you. You know the people that love you for who you are.
Fun fact, that was why Sia never showed her face in public. She said she always wore the wig. Even when she performed in Ellen DeGeneres, she faced the back because she didn't want people to like recognize her and just run up to her.
So she'll still have that freedom. So there's like an inherent trade-off between power and freedom, right? A lot of people take advantage of rich people because they are trying to juggle a lot of things at once. So the higher you get, the more people will lie to you. They just want. So there are so many things you have to deal with. Yeah, they're trade-offs. So rich people get scammed a lot, man. They get scammed a lot. But the point is that it's not the end-all and be-all. Like our society doesn't. It's not the end-all and be-all, and your value is not just monetary. Like you have worth inherent to you, even if nobody tells you. You have worth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So bringing it to a close, I know we've spoken on a lot of topics and a lot of interesting things have been said. How would you close out in one sentence? I'll open it to both of you. How would you close out this episode in one sentence?
It was really good. Please come and listen again.
So subscribe, guys, or add to follow. I guess that's a good statement. What about you, Tosin? It could be philosophical, it could be financial, it could be funny.
As Marvel said, no more way for poor people.
What?
I'm playing. Relax.
Funny,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, but on a more serious note, I would say just try and read, try and consume media and information that could positively impact your life, honestly. Yeah.
Like this podcast.
Like,
This podcast.
Margin of error.
Margin of error.
so that's like 15 times this episode?
Yeah. Plug
15
it, plug
times.
it, plug
Okay,
it, plug it,
so
plug it,
okay,
plug
so
it,
we're
plug it,
doing a
plug it.
challenge where we're meant to say margin of error.
Plug
for
it,
like,
plug it, plug it, plug it.
how many times did we agree on to say? Oh, the number of times. No, we had a challenge. Like how many times can we say? And we said up to 15 times. So guys, like, subscribe, and tune in for further episodes of Margin of Error. We're talking about so many different topics. We believe that education is important to making the right decision. It's important to being the right person. And on this platform, you would gain a lot. We will try our best as possible to
Be
factual and make very little margin.
How do we do that? Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for tuning in and have a good one.